Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. There we go. Coming to you on Monday, November 10th. It is 11:54 p.m. here in Wisconsin. And I am waiting for my devices to catch up with me so that I can watch if anybody joins me live. All right, looks like I've got one device ready to go. And my second one. There we go. Helps if you're on the right screen. Okay, so let's get started. If you are joining live, when you join live, it doesn't look like anybody's joined me just yet. Let me know where you're joining from. I like to see where people are tuning in from, maybe how you found me. I appreciate you giving me, hey Yuda, thumbs up, share, like the videos, whatever, that helps me out a lot. So a couple of just little announcements. We have a Craft and Create on Wednesday. For those that are local to me, let me know if you're coming. I will have the studio open. It'll be 2 p.m. our time that this starts, but I'll have the studio open around 1 o'clock so we can craft together. That's a free event. We'll see what Stampin' Up! Has in order in line for us, what they have in store for us. We also have this, excuse me, this Brushed with Beauty virtual craft class. It's November 20th. These items are available for purchase. I did find out today that it will be 2 cards. Hello, Susan from Melbourne, Australia. There will be 2 cards, 1 scrapbook page that would also be suitable for a home decor framed item, and a box. So those are the projects that will be listed. I just activated my authorization to join the Facebook group where all of the details will be. So there will be instructions and cutting layouts, die cutting layouts, all the things. And that's always done, well, I shouldn't say always, this is the second time, but there will be a senior concept artist and a senior designer, I think, that will lead the class. Plan in about 2.5 hours if you're going to join that. And then we have some new kits, and I am going to have a Come and Get It event on the 30th of November. So I will be getting some information out about that so that you can order your kits from me and come, and we will have a little free-for-all kit night. So let's finish up last night's business here. And this was the 2-page spread that I started. And I changed a few things based on what our conversations were last night as we were heading out. I did put some early espresso mats behind here because it really makes a difference. I had a cluster of ephemera pieces here, but we talked about putting a heading on my page, which I didn't have anything there. So I was busy cutting out some letters today for my coffee and a card, which is what this set of pages is going to memorialize. And I think we'll put the early espresso letters on top. I don't know. I cut these out with adhesive sheets on the back, so luckily I was thinking ahead. So there would be with the light color on top, maybe shadowed by the early espresso, or the early espresso shadowed by the light color. And once I laid it down, I almost thought the early espresso on top looked better, which was not what I had originally intended, but I thought it looked better. So you ladies that are here, what do you think? Should I put the early espresso on top or the light shade on top? And that, the light ones were cut out from this same designer series paper that we used as the background. So there's with the light letters, and I would just have them shadowed with the dark just because they're such narrow letters. And then I also added a little bit of ink blending here. Kind of gives it like a little steamy vibe going on. And then I added a little bit of shading over on the sides up here, and then a little bit on the bottom. If I move that up, you might be able to see the little bit on the bottom. So I'm not sure if I should do the dark letters on top or the light letters on top. Can you alternate? We could. We certainly could. Let's just kind of lay that out and see how that looks. These will be a little closer together. So that's dark on top, light on top. And like I said, I did put adhesive sheets on the backs of these, so they shouldn't be too challenging to put together. They're just a little challenging to lay out here because they move around a little bit. I know, that was my thought too. It's like, oh, that looks good. Oh, wait a minute, that looks good. Or I could do like coffee in the early espresso, and then and a card, or and a in the light letters. So I could put coffee and card maybe with the dark. And then because coffee is kind of dark, but if you put cream in it, it could be light and dark. And these I would have to scooch over a little bit. And it would just be the narrowest of border behind here, I think, because I don't want it to look like you've got double vision, you know? So if we did coffee, and maybe when you said alternate, you didn't mean every other letter, maybe you meant every other word. Every other letter looked a little random to me. I don't want it to look clownish. Although it didn't look bad. And some of the other extra ephemera pieces that I had, this one I've not attached yet because I'm not sure that we really need it. Or if I should just leave a little bit more blank space there. So these others I have attached. I put them up on dimensional so that they've got a little texture. So what do we think? Do we like, you like both also if you want to blend it in, go dark. And if it should pop, go light. Maybe I should make the coffee and a card light and dark. I just wanted the letters to stand out, but I might like this better. Because this garden green turned out to be a little more dim than I wanted it to be. Tonight's will probably be a little more bright. I'm going to move this just a little bit there because it looks I'm a little crooked. So what if we did, I think we're just going to have to kind of make a decision, right? And maybe I'll just take these off for now so that we can see what it would look like light instead of trying to play with, hi Tanya, instead of trying to play with all of the layers. Maybe the light would be best because it does stand out a little bit more and then it kind of highlights the other light elements. Hey Juju. So I'm thinking maybe that's what we'll do. We're trying to decide if we want light letters backed by dark or dark letters backed by light. Do you have smaller letters for the A? No, I don't. These are all from the Alphabet a la Mode dies, and they are all uppercase. And they're very narrow, slim, because that was kind of intended for scrapbooking purposes, so you could get larger words on your pages. And I do have a set of dies that makes smaller letters, but the font is very different. And that font is a little more whimsical. Maybe. Oh, those aren't the right ones. I have a bag of letters. So these would be, I just saw an and or an A. So these would, and those are still all capital letters. They're just smaller. So it wouldn't be lowercase. And I would have to punch, you know, I'd have to die cut a bunch for what we wanted. Or dig through here for letters, but they're going to be multiple colors just because I've put my extras in here when I was running stuff. Now I could certainly have used these dies for all of the letters, but then I'd have to recut everything and pull out those dies again. I think this is a fun, whimsical set for pages that I'll be doing, like for my granddaughter and my bonus grandson. But I think I want to stay all with one font. So we'll do the light letters on top and the dark underneath. Yuta, we've made a decision. So let's just kind of start pulling these apart. I'll get a few down and then we probably don't have to go through the painful process of watching me do them all. And I did not get pictures printed today. Because I was busy putzing with other things. And that's just going to be the narrowest of borders. Maybe I should move that a little bit more. Show a little bit more of that border before that sets. So I'll just do maybe the coffee and we can just kind of see how it's going to look. And then I'll finish this up and maybe tomorrow have pictures in there. We'll see. I think I am home all day tomorrow. I don't think I have any commitments elsewhere. I do have to get ready for my Thoughtful Thursday though. And I need to get ready for the Wednesday craft along. The Wednesday craft along shouldn't be a big deal. I'll have to look for an email and see if there was some suggested items to have. I think it'll look good with the light letters on top, Yuta. I think that was a good choice. And then I figured we would do, from page 28, we'll do layouts 2 and 5 that were the other ones from last night that were of interest. And I've got some colors kind of picked out. So we'll see how those turn out. And I'm using the same Designer Series paper pack, the Hobby Haven or whatever it is. So I think just having a little bit of the early espresso in the back kind of gives them a little depth. All right, so I'll finish all of those another time, unless everybody wants to see me struggle putting letters together and on the pages. But for those of you who came in late, I did add some ink blending on here, kind of to give it a steamy vibe. I add a little ink blending on the left side, a little bit on the bottoms of the 2 pages, and a very little bit up here in the top corner, just to kind of get some flow across the pages. All right, so these will somehow go this way. Something like so. And then those will shift over and scrunch together a little bit. So these other elements, like here, I put them all together. Oh, and for those of you who came in a little bit later, I did add the early espresso mats to those placeholders because it did really need that. Once we put them over on this side, it made a difference. And then I attached a couple of these elements. So that's those 2 pages. So I will get some pictures printed and get these letters on there all the way. And we'll switch these out so the light ones are on top. And we'll just scrunch them together a little bit more. And that'll work. It'll be all good. And then we'll get some pictures on there. And then we can revisit these once I have them a little more done, and you can see how our work of art turned out. All right, so let's take a look at the new ones. All right, so I'm just gonna go set these over on my tables. So I can finish those up hopefully tomorrow. I make my to-do list, and like today I had a to-do list of like 7 things, and I crossed off 2 and then marked off 1 because it's no longer relevant. So let's take a look at the catalog. So the annual catalog on page 28, there are these scrapbook, they call them templates, I call them layouts, you can call them sketches, whatever you want. But last night we had votes for 2, 5, 6, and 8. So 6 and 8 were the 2 that we did just now that we were working on. So I thought we would do these 2. All right. And if we use this same paper, the Hobby Haven, the Hobby Haven Specialty Designer Series paper. I wonder why it's specialty. I didn't notice any metallics on it or not. But anyway, that's what we're going to use. So I pulled in, I do not have any of the Coastal Cabana in the 12 by 12. So this is just cardstock. So I'm going to kind of move this off to the side. And I brought in the Willow White or White Willow, whatever it is, as kind of our backing pieces, okay? And these are going to be for my granddaughter and or grandson. We'll have to see what pictures I get. I might do one page for her and one page for him. I don't know. But when I talked to my husband's daughter and explained to her what I was thinking, she actually had commented that it might be nice to have separate books for each of the kids. So I like the book one, although if we do the backgrounds, that's an awful lot, right? So these others are all not really relevant to the kids because it's all crafting stuff, but the reverse sides are really quite fun. So I kind of like this one. And if I'm just doing them for our granddaughter, I also like this one because she likes pink, of course. And then there's that one. And the back of, whoops, the back of this other page. Did we use some of that on the other? We didn't. There's another sheet of this somewhere. Oh, here. So we could use the back of that, but even that's pretty busy. Hi, Vicki. Oh, you finally got signed up for your DBWS. Awesome. So there are some groups in Stampin' Up that help us use it, and I'm involved in one of those groups right now, but sometime maybe you and I should figure out a time where we can Zoom or something and we can get things kind of started and I can show you some of the features, okay? So anyway, if we look at the books and if we look at this layout, I'm going to move my catalog out of the way actually, and I have here, I printed just the page because it's easier for me. So if we're doing this one and this one, it doesn't actually call for a big background layer, but I don't know that I want it white, you know? So I was thinking maybe these, although here's the dilly. We could go, hi Bonnie L. We could go with the bright Daffodil Delight, or we could go with Petal Pink for our background pieces. And if we're using the books, either one would work. I kind of like the bright yellow, but I know my granddaughter would like the pink also. It's just that's not as bright. But if we did this as the background, I might like that better. So if we're looking at this piece as being one of the focal pieces, what 12 by 12 piece do you think? Oh, and you probably can't see this one really good. I'll zoom in just a little bit. This is actually like a grid paper where there's white lines on that. Hopefully you can see that. I'm not sure if the light shows. All right. Pink. Pink it is. First call, first choice tonight. All right, so we'll go pink. And we'll get these other pieces out of the way. My granddaughter will like the pink. And I'm going to get the willow white out of the way because we don't really need 2 layers. So let's go ahead. I want to see if those lines do match up pretty well. Let's just take a look. Those do not line up that way. I think I liked it this way the best. This will work. All right, sorry for that interruption. All right, and then I'm going to get rid of these other pieces as well because we won't need these. All right, so where did my layout go? Here we go. All right, so if we're looking at our layout, yeah, I missed Juju's entirely tonight. I usually let it run when I'm cleaning up after mine. So I just do the replay. And I head over to Pam's once in a while and just listen for a few minutes too. All right, so we're going to get to do some banners. I think I want to do this page first. Not that it'll be the left side page, but I think the banners are going to be fun. So what we could do is make some banners out of like the pool party or the Coastal Cabana. And then I've got the banner dies, so those will go really pretty quickly. I think I'll cut just a couple of those because there's 1, 2, 3 that they've got as banners. Trevor had a meltdown, huh? And how old is Trevor? Yeah, that... yeah. Meltdowns kind of have a ripple effect, don't they? All right, let's just cut some of these. He's the middle one, huh? All right. And then let's maybe do, we'll see what a couple of these mats look like. Oh, I don't need that out of the 12 by 12. Let me get some of that in the regular cardstock. So we could make some of the mats in yellow. So these look like they're probably, we'll do 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we'll just go down from there. Because 4 by 6 yesterday, those looked pretty big. 20. Freshman year is hard though. So we'll see how those look. Let's cut these out. I'm going to bring over my cart for my die cutting machine. So we don't have to disrupt the table. Okay, banner 1. Banner 2. And I thought, even though these look like they're the same size, we might be doing them different sizes. We'll see. And these might be too big, actually. And then let's find a little bit bigger. So he must be going to school pretty close to you, Juju. And then what's this one? When my son went to college, he was in New York, so he had to deal with those things on his own. Oh, Bonnie, sorry to hear that. And we're going to trim these down a little bit because I don't like them as big as they are. We'll just start taking off a half inch at a time. These are probably still a little big. I think I want these banner shaped too. Don't you think they should be banners? And I need some circles too. If only we could fix all the things. It's so hard. There's a circle. Oh, I could have used a spotlight and nature dies too. You might want to do those. So let's turn these into banners. That banner is too big. That won't be perfect. Well, and that's what I thought I would do with the pages from the other ones. I'm just going to leave the white mats there, and I will probably cut my pictures a little bit smaller than that because my pictures are going to have color. And I thought the white border with the early espresso border behind them would make them stand out a little bit more. So I think that definitely works better for me as banners. Well, these might still be kind of on the big side, huh? Or maybe I should just make my circles with the books. Let me get my spotlight on nature, see if I can find those. Yeah, Spotlight on Nature is not easily accessible, so we'll just work with this. Does your printer let you choose what size to print? No, mine are all 4x6, but if I have a sprocket, so it pulls them out of my gallery, so I can resize them with my gallery. So if I wanted to make them seem like they're further away, then I just trim the outside of my picture. Yeah, did you finish it, Bonnie? All right, so let's see. And then we need a banner, a little flag banner there too. I think these are going to be too big according to our picture because they don't all fit. I'm not a very good judge of how much will fit on my page yet. I'll get better maybe. But I also want some of this paper factored in there because it's fun. So if we do, I'm going to cut a strip out of this and just see how it looks. Oh, circus stuff freaks you out, huh, Susan? Yeah, I think that'll work for that one. Let's do another one. Because that yellow seems really bright against the pink. So I think if we tone it down a little bit, it'll be good. I'm going to make these smaller. Oh, you've got a lot of things that are pretty similar, huh? Well, you could do what I do and start cleaning house. Have a sale. And there are, you know, buy, sell, trade sites out there for Stampin' Up! Stuff. Well, Susan, it depends on what style the circus stuff is. I know a lot of people have this like fear of clowns, which I don't understand, but I've never been freaked out by a clown either, so. All right, so now we have a couple of smaller banners here. And I know this shows them like across the page kind of random. And maybe those still need to be smaller still, but I don't know. We'll just go like this. What do you think of that? That would work, wouldn't it? Well, and see, for me, Yuta, I just sell a couple of things at a time because I figure if I get more than 2 or 3 going at one time, I don't want to get confused. And then I don't want to have to deal with shipping out, you know, a half a dozen things all at once. So I only do a couple of things at a time. And like at the craft fair that I just had this weekend, I did a bag sale, you know. Here's a bag, here's the price you pay. I want those little flags to show. Go like that. Does that look all right like that, do you think? And these circles, I think I'm going to end up doing circle punches maybe. But those aren't really bright enough, I don't think. I don't think those will work. Yeah, I never got the gnome stuff. I'm not that into the gnomes. And the daisy stamps, you know, I got some of the daisy like that had the punches too, the large daisy and the medium daisy. Because they were really popular at the time, but it's like nobody wants them right now. I've had them listed for good prices and nobody wants them. All right, so let's scooch these up a little bit. And maybe I should end up, you know, if I don't put pictures on those, I think those will be cute. And we could use this as kind of a focal picture of her. And then I need a banner. And they show something like this. And I think if we do maybe the banner in yellow again, I need to find my yellow piece. But I want to make it bigger. Like yesterday I should have made that banner bigger. Or that little sentiment piece. So I'll try to make this one longer. Let's see if I can get my act together and do it right this time. I need to try to get my dots set in here. Oh, she did ornaments out of the gnomes. Well, that's a cute idea for the school kids. My granddaughter's teacher this year doesn't seem to want any of the crafty things, which I thought was kind of odd. Her teacher last year was really excited about all of it. Because I thought some of the stuff that I just couldn't get rid of, maybe I should just donate to the school. All right, so I didn't quite get my die lined up all the way to cut it all the way through, so I'm just going to use my snips and straighten those out. And if I put like a circle or something over them, nobody's going to see them anyway. I had it all lined up right, it just didn't have the die under the plates far enough to get it all cut through. Because if we did, you know, a circle or something with that. Oh, thank you, Bonnie. I'll look for that. Very cool. All right, let's see if we move these up again a little bit more. I think what I would want to do maybe is put like the 2025-2026 school year with her name on here and label that page. So this might work out better being the right side page, do you think? Because then we've got this one. We'll figure this out. I'm going to set this one aside for right now. Maybe something like that. And then I could have put a cute little picture of her face in there. She had, oh, it was, I don't know if I've mentioned to you guys, she's in 2nd grade this year, right? They had a cross-country team for the kids at her school. They go through 3rd grade at the school she's at, so they've got 3 and 4K, they've got regular kindergarten, and then 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And then for 4th and 5th, the kids go to a different school. So they did a cross-country team, and she wanted to be on it. So we have pictures of her running her race for cross-country. She came in last, but she finished the race. And she said next year she does not want to do cross-country. So, yeah, it was kind of fun. So let's set this one kind of off to the side for right now. And let's work on this one with this. So this one shows a pretty big piece there. And if this is 8 inches, probably about 6 inches wide. Maybe I'll do it 6 by 6 and see how that looks. Oh, that was nice. I just sliced my finger. Let me get a Band-Aid. It's not bleeding yet, but my cutter, I caught the blade. I felt it and it's like, oh my goodness. I think I just sliced my finger. It's strange that it's not making a mess yet. At least it's a really clean cut, you know, it's a very straight cut. I should probably have just put some super glue on it right away, huh? Maybe I'll do that. Super glue to the rescue. All right, liquid stitches. Not that it was that deep. Let that dry for a minute. Okay, so what were we talking about? All right, so 6 by 6. We can do this one-handed. I just have to watch that blade. I don't know how I did that. It's really weird. All right, so if that goes there, so again, we're doing this one. And I really would think that banner needs to be, this one needs to be a little wider. So let's just cut this. And we'll go maybe 5 inches. Oh no, that needs to be longer. So let's do like that far. I'm just waiting for a blob of the super glue to dry. So I don't want to be stuck to the Band-Aid forever either. But super glue works remarkably well. Okay, I've just got this Band-Aid hanging off here. Oh, that's funny. Only me. At least I didn't like cut my finger off. So if I've got this 1 3/4, that would be a 1/2 inch and 3/8. I'm trying to get it so it's kind of like in the middle with 7/8. I just want to mark where my midpoint is so I can make my flagged end look good. All right, let's button that little puppy up. We'll be fine. It'll be fine. All right, so I'm just marking, that's about where the midpoint is. And then we'll just manually make a flag here. But if you do it right in the middle and then cut from the corners to the middle, then of course you don't have to worry about it being lopsided or not because you're working right off the middle. Get that thing to stick down there now. All right. That might be too wide. Actually, I could put her name on this one. Let's trim that down just a little bit. It looks a little disproportionate to me. There, I think that looks better. I just took off a 1/4 inch from each side. All right, so back to the layout. So we've got this piece, we've got this piece. And I think I might actually, because if this is going to be my left-hand page, I think I'm going to move this up here and have her name right on here or the school year numbers. All right, and then we need just a couple of smaller pieces. So I think I need to go get another piece of Daffodil Delight. And then we'll do, maybe those are, the sketches don't give us measurements. They just give you ideas. And even with the recipes that we can get online as demonstrators, they still don't give us the measured recipes. They just give us what elements were used. So like, let's say this project was there, we could go to the resources for demonstrators and we could find the recipe for this, but it would just tell me what this designer series paper is. This is White Willow. You know, this is an ephemera pack. It'll only tell you what products were used. It won't give you measurements. And those look kind of square. So I'm thinking, let's start 3.5 by 3.5 because I can always make them smaller, but I can't make them bigger without cutting brand new pieces. All right. And these we could actually kind of put over here. And let's get white. So if those were 3.5 by 3.5, we could go 3 by 3, right? And that will give us a 1/4 inch border. Oh, I need those bigger. I guess we'll do 3.25 by 3.25. What was I thinking? Luckily, I can use those for something else, right? So sometimes when I do my team meetings, we will use these sketches like for the cards. And we will create our own little templates, and then on the back we create like a card front with all of the elements for that layout. And then on the back of that piece, we'll write all the measurements so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you want to make a certain card. You've got all of the measurements that you need handy. All right. And then it looks like we'll do some journaling like up here. And I had some ephemera pieces here that I pulled out. A couple of the books that came from a pack. So we could, you know, probably dress this up with a little bit of something there. This one's got a border though, and these don't. So maybe I'll use all these together. Those could go down there. We've got these cute little tabs. We could put those there. And I could, let's say I was putting her at the start of her her track meet or her cross country meet, and then at the end I could put, you know, start and finish. Thanks for stopping by, Vicki. All right, and then we have some of these pieces too that might go on the other page. And this might go on the other page too, or maybe not at all, who knows. But I just kind of pulled out some of those pieces because I thought they looked kind of fun. So those are handy. They might not work with this after all. So then we just need some journaling, and we could actually just use these pieces here. I could probably make just a frame. I think this needs a mat. I did this 6 by 6, right? So let's go 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. That just looks unfinished to me. Or maybe I should use some Cajun Craze for that banner instead of yellow. I haven't used Cajun Craze for a couple of days. Okay. All right, so let's pull in our sketch again. Now I could just draw lines on here too, but I don't know if I trust myself to do that. What would you do? Any of you that do your journaling, scrapbook pages? Let me go get some Cajun Craze and see. Although I could probably, let's see what it would look like if I just oh, that's not going to work very well because of the pointy edges. Add a separate card, yeah. I think that would be safer for me. Definitely. I need to go get my Cajun Craze marker. Does that make it stand out enough? I don't think my banner is straight though. I'm doing the very thing I was trying to avoid. Because usually when you start cutting a little bit here and a little bit there, it just goes all wonky. I think I might have had it in crooked. Whoops. What was the question? Should I put lines on here for journaling? Or like put a separate journaling card on there? Because I'm not sure that I trust myself to add lines. Oops. Although if I started adding lines and I didn't like it, I could always put the journaling page or the journaling card on top. So I kind of shifted things around on this particular layout because if I'm going to have this as my first page and put her name up here, we could use these letters there. They're a little more whimsical. And you can cut out a bunch of letters all at once, or you can just put little squares on here. I usually use cardstock with my adhesive sheets on it, so I don't have to worry about it. Let's get this back up where it belongs. I've got a frame all the way around it. I don't know, I'm going to go get Cajun Craze and see how that looks. See how wide we made this. So we'll go 1.25 inches. And then we'll take off about 1 inch. All right, I did a little trimming with my trimmer to get my center cut, so we'll see if that works a little bit better for me now. I think it must be because of my injury. That's my story and I'm sticking with it. Well, the super glue must have helped because there's nothing leaking through the Band-Aid. That was so weird. I think I might like that better. What do you think? Because it pulls out the colors in the books. Or we can scooch this in a little bit And add a little ripple banner on there. What color am I thinking for her name? That's a good question. Because if I add some of the, like the Coastal Cabana, I think that would be a nice contrast. It's an unusual color combination, but I really think it works. Let me pull out the Coastal Cabana. It doesn't even have Daffodil Delight on here. It's got crushed curry and lemon lime twist, but that's not the color combinations of these papers. Cajun Craze. Again, that's got crushed curry. So that's got a whole different set of colors. So I want to stick with colors that are in the designer series papers. But that could probably work. Let me get adhesive sheet. Well, that was like almost made for this. And then we'll see how that does. And yellow is actually a good color for some of this stuff because that's one of the main colors of their school. And I think I want to do a little bit of scoring on here. So let's go 1.25 inches and 1.5 inches. And then what I can do is have this banner raised up a little bit too. And her first name only has 5 letters. So I may have to cut these yellow banners a little shorter, but that's fine. We can do that in a bit. Let's find those dies again. What did I do? They were there. Luckily, she only has 5 letters in her first name. So we're gonna do an R. R-L-R-E. I should be able to run these through all at once. All right, let's run these through. See if I could do it at once and not mess it up. I probably am not going to be talented enough to run this all at once. I'm just not that good today. If I would have done a whole sheet of the letters, I could have done it all in one swoop, but you can tell I have more letters than I need. I have a couple of extra letters. All right, we're getting there. One more. All right, just the R left. There. And I think if I keep them wonky, then I don't have to worry about getting them exactly lined up, and then it won't look like they're off kilter. What do you think of that color combination? Okay, so then I'll need to do like 2025-2026 or maybe second grade, something like that, that'll indicate what it is that I'm actually documenting. And then I just wonder if, like the journaling piece, or a big 2, that could work. So this is 4 3/4. Let's do 3 inches. Well, let's do 2 3/4. No, let's do 3. That could go there to become a journaling piece, maybe. Or maybe that's too big. A large 2 on the lower left, maybe. Is that what you meant? So let me find, here's my journaling pen. So I could try to make just casual lines. I don't know how that would work. I guess that's not too bad. They have stamps with lines on them. That would be easier. And then I could always put the dash line in between, like school paper, dash, dash, dash. I probably need to put one more up here. You know, like the grade school kids have their penmanship paper. I don't know if they still use that much anymore. It doesn't seem like they work on penmanship a whole lot because the kids are all doing keyboarding. So they're all on their computers and their tablets, which I think they need to take out of the classroom, personally. Get the kids back to reading and writing, playing outside. What do you think of that? Yes, you're other right, Yuta. What do you think of that? Does that look too messy? And then let's pull out our banner dies and let's see if these have numbers. I don't know if these are just alphabet dies. There might not be any numbers in here, but these would be a good size. Yep, no numbers. These are all letters. I think I have some old dies though. Oh, good. I mean, it is documenting a second grader, right? Let me see if I can find my old number dies quick. Got big letters. I guess I might not have them anymore. I thought I had some big number dies, but I obviously don't have them anymore. So, but I'll figure out something for that. Even if I print something off the computer with a number 2 that's sizable, that would work. It doesn't have to be a die necessarily, right? I could even cut it out of some designer series paper, you know, print it and fussy cuss it. A number stencil? Yeah, I don't have any. I don't have any. Of all of the things in my studio space, I do not have number stencils. Although I wonder if we gave our granddaughter a set. Yeah, I don't know. Rather than go buy some, I think that, I know that's just wrong. Sorry. Good night, Yuda. Thanks for stopping by. We're almost done here anyway. So I will have to figure out a number 2 for there. So let me pull in this other page. And I'll still want to put some photo placeholders on here, I think. I'll just have to find the right size banner dies. Either that or just cut my pictures with the appropriately sized banner. So I'll cut pictures out of that. And go one size up for this one. So I'll cut my pictures out of those size banners. I'll put a 2 here and then maybe some more. If I put her picture there, I feel like since we've got banner dies there that I should have something here that looks banner-ish so that it looks balanced. What do you think? Is that a plus? I think that might look a little bit better. I don't know. These can actually go over here with the number 2. That'll work because it was getting a little crowded down here. And then if we do those like that, we could even do just 4 banners there instead of 5. The big 2 on a banner over here, like in here, because I was probably going to put a picture in here. But I could put the 2 or the like second on that side. What even number? Well, she's in 2nd grade. Down here. So a number down here, picture, 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 little journaling there. I don't know if I really need this 5th banner because it was kind of crowded. Or were you saying bottom left over here for that page? Maybe that would work. Spread them out a little bit. It'll look different with pictures in there, of course. But this will be where the pictures go. They'll be trimmed down. And I'll put some pictures of memorabilia there. All right, well, I think that's it. I think that's as far as I can go tonight without creating stuff on the computer and printing out like that 2nd grade. Thank you, Juju. We'll see. We'll see if I end up adding, I think I need some Cajun Craze over here now because I've got Cajun Craze over there. So we'll have to do something. Maybe I'll get rid of this brown metallic piece and put Cajun Craze there as a mat to a little photo. Or I could add some extra mats here. We'll see. I'll play with it and we'll go from there. So we did layout number 2. So we've got our 2 boxes down here. We've got the banner up there with this big square and then a journaling piece and then some little ephemera. And then we did 5, so we've loosely worked with that. It would look better to replace the circle. Yeah, I think so too. With Cajun Craze, right? Instead of the metallic piece. I was just thinking early espresso-ish for there, but the Cajun Craze I think will work good too. I think that'll be cute. And I'll probably end up doing some, I'll find some stamp to kind of put on here. There was a backpack one we had that might have some little elements that I can stamp. I'll have to find that if it's not retired. But either way, I can find some little stamp things. In fact, I pulled out some stamps. You've got this. I forgot about this. You're the best. Oh, that would look good there. And then this one says, so happy to have you in my life. You know, she's my granddaughter, right? We could stamp that like here. So I will add some of these other elements and go from there. Yeah, and those were from this, the Creative Haven that coordinates with this paper for the suite. And then we'll add some of these little gems, probably the pecan pie, maybe a couple of the early espresso, but there's Cajun Craze in there too. So I'll work on this and we'll get it worked out so that it looks a little bit more like somebody who knew what they were doing was doing something on it instead of just an amateur like me. But it's fun. It's fun kind of stretching, doing something that I don't normally do. So thank you all for joining with me and giving me your suggestions. I certainly appreciate it. All right, so I think with that, I am going to say goodnight. And until next time, 22, 23 hours from now, whatever 11 p.m. is, probably 22-ish hours, 22 and a half hours. I will catch you all the next time. Yeah, sleep well, everybody. Or enjoy your day if you're already well into your day. If there's folks here from Australia. I don't know if Susan is still here.